Welcome to the Penny Bloom Podcast. Ain't another place that has got more bombast. Romp past your mom, dad's listening to Tomcats. Talking everything that make you sad. We don't want that. We're here to make you smile. Put your mind at ease. Peace, love, and bloom, and always praise Keanu Reeves. This what we about. This some weeding now. We'll talk until we can't no more, and then we peacing out. Alright, let's go. Penny Bloom Podcast. It's the Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. It's the Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. Hello everybody and welcome in to another episode of the Penny Bloom Podcast. It is I, Colton Robertson, and today we are continuing our 52-year journey through film, and as always for this project I am joined by Joseph George. What's up, homie?
What up, what up? Always a pleasure to be here.
Oh, and it's always a pleasure to have you. And for the first time on our 52-year journey through film, we are joined by Aurora Carter. What's up?
What's up? What's up? How you doing? It's good to be back, you know.
Oh, it is so good to have you. You know, been a little bit since we had you on the podcast, and this might be a little confusing for listeners. They'll be like, "Oh, I don't know. You guys might be doing shit," but you know, to us, the last thing we recorded was in December, about a month ago. But this isn't coming out till June, so everyone's like...
What was the last thing we recorded? Was it Spider-Man?
Was it? No, we did a Mutants Monthly after that. We did the ranking.
That's right.
The Fox ranking. But and as soon as we get some more shit straightened out, we'll figure out what our next project is, and assuming that's ongoing. So go ahead and check that out. Mm-hmm. But today we're covering a movie from 1993, as we have every Friday of this year, 1 year after the next. We started at the beginning with 1970, and every Friday since, a movie from the year after, all the way through the 70s, all the way through the 80s, and here we are in the 90s. We're discussing 1993's Jurassic Park. Now, this is a fun one. Another absolute classic. Fun fact, you know, I'm going to lay the groundwork for the people. Released on June 10th, 1993, so tomorrow will be released on June 11th, 1993, so tomorrow will be the 29th anniversary of Jurassic Park, which is really cool. Written by Michael Crichton and David Koepp, directed by Steven Spielberg. Just another banger for Spielberg.
Well, a different kind of Spielberg banger, though, in my opinion. It's not like a Terminator or
well, that's James Cameron.
Or sorry,
Jaws and... Yes.
It's not like... I don't know. This is... I'll talk about it later, I guess.
Well, this seems like Steven Spielberg, right? Didn't he also do another dinosaur film, The Land Before Time, also? Isn't that his?
Oh, maybe. I think that might be his as well, yeah.
And it's so great that we're, like, talking about this when, you know, like, Jurassic World Dominion is out. And that is the end of Jurassic, like, all of Jurassic Park.
Yeah,
that's
the whole thing. The whole thing.
Yeah,
right. Ongoing right now. It'll be fun to watch the whole Jurassic Park franchise following this movie for sure. Mm-hmm. But now, you know, on this 52-year journey through film, we've had a couple Spielberg entries. We've had Jaws, and we've had Indiana Jones, Raiders of the Lost Ark.
I was just getting my directors mixed up then.
Yeah, you were getting James.
Yeah, this clears it up completely. No, yeah, this is in line with the movies he makes.
Oh yes, this is 100%. This is Spielbergian out the ass. You know, you get the whole, and I pointed to this when we talked Raiders. You get the whole first hour of like setup and like explaining to you what's happening, how everything's gonna go, and then one event happens and it's all fucking gas from there, and you're never stopping. That's when the chase happens. That's when you find the Ark. That's when the dinos get out. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I think Steven Spielberg has just an impeccable way of pacing his films, and this just keeps in line perfectly with the way he's gone in the past.
What I will say is that although this is definitely not a first watch, a lot of these other movies have been first watches, but this is I've seen this many, many times. But I guess I've never like truly paid attention to the movie before. Like I always have, you know, I know the big events, I know the dinos, I know, all the chase scenes, all those, like, those are imprinted, obviously. But, like, the like, story, that's there, the whole, like, and chaos theory and all these, like, cool little things, if you just, like, pay attention to the movie, like, I don't know, it was interesting. Like, this is the first time that I really, like, thought about, like, everything that was being said, knowing what was coming, and, like, I was like, man,
critically viewing a film, because there is the difference between just watching for enjoyment and watching and thinking about it actively. And this movie is just, it's fucking seamless. I think the performances are astounding. We got Laura Dern, who is just an absolute queen. I love Laura Dern, and if you're a Star Wars fan, you know her as Admiral Holdo in The Last Jedi. We got Jeff Goldblum, fucking legend, as Dr. Malcolm. Personally, my favorite character in the movie.
Thank you for making, like, the math guy not just an absolute nerd. He's got math with a little bit of game, but he's still,
this is a sexy ass nerd, bro.
They made him like a piece of shit, though. He's like, I'm always looking for my next ex, Miss.
That scene of him just land on, like, the table. I was just like, yeah.
They always had him laying in me
at a young age.
Of course, his shirt was ripped open, because he got attacked, but it was ripped open perfectly, where it just showed. Just
like, a beautiful person, Jeff Goldblum, and frankly, perfect in this role. Like the part where he yells at the guy at the table, and he's like, "Now you're selling it," and he hits the table a couple times. It's like the classic Jeff Goldblum delivery, but like he's getting angry, and you're like, this couldn't be better right now. But yeah, this movie's just stacked front to back, and frankly, I got the score going on right now, because it's hard to get better than John Williams' scores of movies. And
I was gonna ask, you think? Like, because has John Williams ever been on something that isn't good? Has he ever made a movie soundtrack that, like, isn't it? Like, they must know.
As long as John Williams is creating the soundtrack for your movie, it at least has some credibility, or at least had one good aspect about it, because he didn't miss. That's a promise. And he certainly didn't miss here.
What are the top 4 composers? Was James Horner, James Newton Howard, Hans Zimmer, and John Williams? Are those like the top?
Yeah. Those are top of the game. Hans Zimmer and John Williams are always in that conversation for sure. And John Williams, we do our decade awards, 70s, 80s, and we'll eventually get to one from the 90s. But he won soundtrack of the decade for Star Wars in the 70s awards, and soundtrack of the decade in the 80s for Raiders of the Lost Ark. And so John Williams just kind of never misses.
He loves his horns. He loves his horns.
He loves his horns. And much respect. John Williams and Steven Spielberg collabing on 3 movies in 3 different decades across our list here: 75 with Jaws, 81 with Raiders, and 92 here with Jurassic Park, or 93 with Jurassic Park. Like, that's just excellence. That's a legacy, like decades spanning, and they're still going. They're still making bangers. That's crazy.
It is, huh? Damn it! I thought for a second that Interstellar soundtrack was John Williams as well, but it's
that was Hans Zimmer.
Hans Zimmer.
Yeah,
man, they are some. Okay, yeah, there's some. Those two, they never miss, but
they don't. They do not.
Yeah.
Did he also do?
Yeah, and it's funny. They always kind of go well with their movie maker. Like Hans Zimmer goes with Christopher Nolan. Like Steven Spielberg goes with John Williams, or George Lucas goes with John Williams, or any filmmaker goes with John Williams. But beyond just Laura Dern and Jeff Goldblum, I know that because they are the best parts of the movie for me, far and away. Grant's character, straight up, like the development he sees over the course of the film is really heartwarming, and it's not something that's ever stuck out to me particularly when watching this film as a youngin'. Like, it's just kind of like, I'm not here for the emotional resonance so much as I am here for big scary monster. I'm scared. Let me run. That's kind of the attitude I've previously had towards this movie. But in recent watches, in recent years, whenever they're up in the tree and the brachiosauruses are up there with them, and Grant's trying to call them towards them, and they had fallen asleep there and woke up next to each other, and it was like, man, he's really getting a warm heart for these kids,
Mhm.
you know, and I mean, it's a lot easier to feel that way when you don't have to take care of them at the end of the day. I just got to get you out of this situation. We're gonna be cool after that. You go your way, I'll go mine. But
Fair. I guess never thought about it that way. But yeah, I mean, that dude, he started out by saying that kids smell, that they're
sticky.
noisy, they're messy, and then at the end of it, he sees his bird, he's hugging the two kids, they're flying off back home. It's like, yeah,
it's heartwarming as hell. And frankly, this is the note we end this on is like the exact same note we end Jaws on, where like we've made it out. Here's us panning out. We're crossing the sea. That's it. Like just we ended up making it, and I appreciate that sentiment from these movies. And I mean, even Raiders to an extent, Indy and Marion Ravenwood are the only ones who survived the arc there at the end. So like, it's like, no matter what, you're making it out if you're a Spielberg protagonist. And it's going to be heartwarming. And frankly, like I was thinking of it as I was watching this, and I've never like truly picked out like a favorite director or anything based on the movies they have. And I fall back on George Lucas a lot because I fuck with George Lucas and Star Wars, but like Francis Ford Coppola for the Godfather movies and stuff. But damn, man, I think it's got to be Steven Spielberg. Like as far as Jaws, Raiders, and Jurassic Park goes, those three alone, you're winning. And like and he's got so much more in the bag. It's crazy.
Yeah, looking at his movies is just insane. Like, there's a lot that just won't be on this list because we just have so many like more movies. But like, it's crazy how many like.
If you go to his IMDb,
movies. Yeah.
If you go to his IMDb, his top 4 known for, we didn't cover 3 of them. Like Jaws and Jurassic Park aren't breaking that top 4 there. Like, that's crazy. He's also got Schindler's List, E.T., Saving Private Ryan.
Damn.
Just directed West Side Story and
man,
Ready Player One.
Hammond, the doctor, the guy who's the white-haired dude. Reminded me a lot of Ford from Westworld. Like,
well, very similar idea, both Westworld and Jurassic Park written by Michael Crichton. So it makes sense that we would have an aligning figure here. Interesting enough though, because, they went a little bit more sinister in the route of Ford, than they did with the route of Hammond here. And obviously, Jeff Goldblum states the like defining problem with this whole project, where it's like you were so convinced with whether or not you could, you didn't ask yourself if you should, and that's like the problem at the heart of Hammond's character. It's like he's just like, we can. How can we stand in the light of discovery and not act? Like that's an interesting attitude, and it's certainly one that I can admire. But like you got to have some logic when it comes to this sort of thing. And at the end, whenever Grant jumps in the car and is like, I've chosen not to endorse your park. And he goes, me too. I'm like, okay, good. At least he's seen by the end here that this is something that can't happen.
Yeah. I mean, he was in that control room. He was like, people are dying. Turn it off. Because like, even, like it was hesitant for a little bit, like, because he, like, everyone in that control room, like, they didn't like see what was happening. They weren't there. So like, they're not like fully in it, but like it really takes like someone literally screaming like, dude, there are people dying in the park right now. There have been many deaths, human lives lost, like,
dead.
Let's go. Like, yeah, let's get this going.
Let's go ahead and get the fuck out of here. Let's get the fuck out of here. How about another appearance from our boy Samuel L. Jackson prior to his like true rise to fame?
Man, a lot of his appearances so far is he comes in and then just dies, man. Like and a horrible death too. He off-screen death on this one. Last time he just gets shot in the head. Like, man, like let's get this guy some. I can't wait till he gets into like
appearance in our 1990 movie Goodfellas, where he was a very small role where he got capped. And he's playing the stereotypical hacker. Like the way they talk about hacking into the computers and stuff. Oh God, it's so funny because it's like this is such an early '90s movie, and in that there was a moment early on in those like trucks where she's like, interactive CD-ROM. This is so cool. You just tap the screen and it takes you where you want. And it's like,
whoa,
that's so '90s.
That's the thing is that like these dinosaurs though, like the film, like in everything, like this stands up to today's standards like crazy well. Like the new, like people prefer these dinosaurs over like the Jurassic World dinosaurs. Like with the uber technology we have today, like people still prefer these ones because like they used practical stuff, like they were there, real lighting, like, and like, you know, you see the T-Rex, you know, in the rain, like stomping, little like splashes of water come up. Like it's little simple things that like just tie it all in. Like, you know, it's fake. Obviously it's a dinosaur, but like, I don't know. I think whenever it's all CGI, I'm like, that's way more fake than this fake real thing. I don't know.
No,
so
I can see where you're coming from for sure. You know, like when you're watching Game of Thrones early, like when the dragons are real little. And behind the scenes, it's a fucking tennis ball, you know, but like, you see it CGI'd on there. But, you know, the visual effects of this, like, are incredible. And, you know, as Star Wars fans, you know, like, we obviously have, I have a lot of Star Wars knowledge, so I'll always parallel anything I can to whatever we're talking to Star Wars. But, this very movie is what George Lucas needed to watch for him to realize, oh, I can make the prequel trilogy. He watched Jurassic Park, directed by Steven Spielberg, and went, okay, I got this now. Just because, you know, he eventually evolved special effects and visual effects even further with that, but not without the groundwork laid by Jurassic Park. So it deserves a lot of credit from Star Wars fans, to be sure. It's just an incredible movie.
Didn't even think about that. Like this probably bred a lot of really, really insane movies. Cause I'm thinking like, you know, 99 comes The Matrix, which is like another crazy visual effects movie that stunned everybody. And like, you know, without this movie, cause this is another movie like in theaters. If you're watching this in 93, you're like, what the fuck am I seeing? Like that would be insane. Like to actually be in 93, like in a theater experiencing that. But man, like this, I mean, I don't know. I don't, like, every time I hear like my parents talk about it or everything, they speak about it as if it was like a Star Wars, you know, like a thing that was just like just mind blowing to like watch.
No, it's one of those things, you know, like I think to the promotion for Star Wars and the promotion for like Superman the movie, the like we'll make you believe a man can fly. You know, like the job of this movie was to make you believe that dinosaurs were there. And like, that's a lot harder than making me believe a man can fly. You know what I'm saying? And the fact that, you know, it comes 15 years later, and certainly you needed that time. But, like, those look real as fuck. Like, and I know like a weird comparison because Aliens is aliens, not dinosaurs. But like, Aliens did a pretty good job with their aliens, but nothing to the level that Jurassic Park does here with the dinosaurs. And I think it's just wildly impressive.
Okay, my turn. So,
go ahead.
But one thing I kind of wanted, like, one of you guys said it about, I think it was Colton, when he said like when the T-Rex came down, the water splashed up. One thing I liked, because I watched Jurassic Park like so many times, like played the Lego games of it. I bought Evolution 1 and 2. Like, I love Jurassic Park. And even like the way the sound effects for each dinosaur was like made, like how they made the T-Rex noise, you know, like using so many different animals, and the main sound you hear is a baby elephant that made a weird noise, and it was like, oh, that sounds cool, we have to use that. Like the first roar you hear is a baby elephant, but it sounds so iconic, just the way that it sounds. And I kind of think the T-Rex, like, of course, if you hear a lightsaber go off, you know that's Star Wars. Like, if you just listen, you're like, okay, that's Star Wars. If you hear Godzilla roar, that's Godzilla. I think the T-Rex roar is as iconic as that. Like, you know what that's from.
I think you're on point with that. The sound design in this movie is fucking incredible, and something that probably doesn't get nearly enough credit. Like, there's a specific moment where I'm like, gosh, that noise they created, it was the raptor calling to the other raptor in the kitchen, where it's like, and it's like, yeah, like, it's like, oh damn, like, and the way they planted those seeds, like, the raptors are incredibly smart. They learn, they're actively getting smarter and smarter. They'll probably know how to open these doors, and
unless they learn how to open doors. Next frame, open door. Yeah, like whenever they told him, like, giving him the lesson, you're looking at, he's scaring the kid to death, at the very beginning of the movie. He's like, if you're looking at one of them, that's when they get you. That's when they come and attack you from the sides,
And we see that play out later on.
Smart girl. Yeah, like,
and I really like,
damn.
I remember I was in high school and we was talking about something. It was 2005. I think it was elementary school then. And that's when that's when King Kong came out, 2005.
Yes.
And we was talking about, like, how the dinosaurs look compared to Jurassic Park. And me and my friends was like, oh no, but Jurassic Park dinosaurs are just sexy. Like, they're actually sexy. They are attractive looking dinosaurs.
They're good looking dinosaurs.
Good looking. And honestly, I think the most beautiful dinosaur in this movie is the Brachiosaurus. It's so
100%.
Like, the color grading of, like, the brown, like, the warm tones in this movie is so like nice. And also the sound effect of this being like, what was it, like like that?
Yeah, just like a little.
I just love it. It's so beautiful.
Oh, and I like, that's when the movie really, like, elevates for me, is the first time, and I think for most people is the first time you see that Brachiosaurus, the 30 or 40 foot neck, and they ride up, and Grant's like, he like sits up and he's in disbelief, and Laura Dern is over here amazed by a fucking leaf that's way too big. She's like, holy shit, this is way too big. This has been extinct for several years. What the fuck are we getting? What? Oh shit. Like, you don't even know the half of it, honey. Like, look at
like, my grandmother said, because she always she took my mom and my aunt to go see it. She always says, anytime we watch the movie, when you see the Brachiosaurus for the first time, it's like, my movie theaters went fucking wild when we saw that, because we never seen, like, so many people was like, that had to be real. Like, there's an island somewhere with dinosaurs, because this the way it looked. Like, they just say it was so pretty.
And the gravity of that moment that they create with the score through John Williams, and, like, there's a lot of moments in this movie that are really just greatly enhanced by that Jurassic Park theme. That that's just fantastic.
Like, I just love, like, and also I love, like, how they use the theme. Like, it's always same, but they might take, like, certain instruments out, because when the Brachiosaurus is coming out, and you just see it goes up, it's just so slow. It is like, I just like, oh no, I'm about to cry. Like, this is so pretty.
No, it's so pretty.
His knees got weak when he heard that there was a T-Rex. He said, "Say again, T-Rex." He couldn't even stand up anymore.
What I love about this movie too is that they don't shy away at all from our protagonists being the biggest fucking nerds alive. Like, that's the nerdiest shit I've ever seen, and it's so cute.
Nah, they're bringing out their inner child. That's like the whole, like, I don't know. That's what I got out of watching it this time, is like, this park allowed them to bring out, like, their inner child, and, like, that was Hammond's, like, main focus. It was for the kids, he had the right intention and heart, he didn't want this to be anything else, he wanted it to be for the kids. That's
and they tried their best, with the not being able to breed in the wild, but life finds a way.
He called it
and
chaos theory, man.
There it is.
Have both of you have watched Jurassic World, right? Okay.
Yes.
vaguely remember.
No,
I don't know
only
if I.
one thing I'm going to say about it. That moment.
Okay.
Oh, what you going to say, Colton? Which is.
Oh no, go ahead. I was just like, okay.
So, I liked the movie. It was actually, I think it was actually pretty good. But the moment when the Insidious child, because I can't remember his name, I don't remember he played in Insidious. When he opened up the balcony doors to the hotel, and you said the dun dun, like as it went over, there was no dinosaurs, but just hearing the score and saying like, this is what John Hammond wanted. Like, just to see, it was like, I remember it was right after my brother's graduation, and I was like, it just tugged at my heart. I wanted to pass out. Like, I was like, oh my God, this is my Tobey Maguire, Peter Parker moment in No Way Home, just to see the park, just to see it's working. And
it's up, it's running, and it's frankly a fantastic idea. Like, in terms of like innovation for science and like discovery, and like it is on paper incredible and like an amazing experience, but as dinosaurs and humans haven't existed in the same place in hundreds of thousands of years, and they've been very suddenly thrown back into the game together.
And like,
there's only one dominant species.
Like,
there's only one on the planet at a time.
I always made this joke about Jurassic World. It's like everything was fine till you had to make a Caucasian dinosaur. But go ahead. And I was like, go ahead. That's why I like it when the new park director, Mani Masrani, whatever his name is in Jurassic World, he was like, it's white. You didn't tell me it was white. And I love that so much.
You didn't tell me it was white.
He said, you didn't tell me it was white. But yeah,
man, such a like the dinner table like conversation that they had, and like the lawyers like, we're gonna make so much money. We could charge $2,000, $10,000 a day, and they pay for anything.
Be accessible, Well, we'll do a coupon day. It's like, okay.
Damn,
and dude. I love this is another thing. This is another thing that prevails through Steven Spielberg's work. This is our mayor in this movie, mayor from Jaws, who doesn't care about the danger as long as we can bring in the money. And that's always kind of a driving force behind the general antagonistic idea of Steven Spielberg's movies. Because obviously, you're fighting dinosaurs. That's the bad guy here. You're trying to escape here.
But they were just put there.
They're just doing their thing, and they make that clear in the movie
it's
too.
They do.
It's what they do. And I really, really enjoy just the overall approach to this movie. Like, I don't think there's anything poorly handled, which is really interesting, in terms of, I love the way they kind of worship life in general. Like, it's not just, they're obviously the kid's going to be like, that's a fucking monster, and Grant's got to be like, no, it's not a monster. They're doing what they're supposed to do, and
so a 3-day park ticket is $550. So just wanted to look that up.
3-day park tickets are $550 a day?
No, just a 3-day park ticket. But they don't cover the ferry, the airplane, the hotel,
and it's 1993.
Damn,
that's steep.
Yeah, I just thought about
that's
that.
Steep.
Damn.
That's a lot of money.
That's a lot of amount. You know how much ass you would have to sell?
I mean, I guess you are seeing a literal dinosaur, though. I mean, like, okay. There's a point where, like, it should be, like, a free thing. It should be, like, one time, everyone gets to see a dinosaur, But when you want to come back, you could pay for a ticket, I'd say. If you want to come back for seconds, you could pay for a ticket. I'd say that'd be the fairest way, because, like, these people, like, crazy scientific discovery, like, they deserve some money for this, or like something.
They do.
It's insane. But like, I don't know, whenever they got off the ride and they were like, oh yeah, they're all female, they can't breed anyways. He's like, oh, well, there it is. And they were like, there it is. He's like, there's your problem right there. Life will find a way. They will find a way to breed, And then he's like, there's your problem right there. And you haven't even realized it. And they're just like, okay. And they just went right back to like what they were doing, and like just so many things that it's like science can just seem so great all the time. And like, you just it's hard to stop and ask, should we, like it's hard to, like, it's easy to do it after the fact, after you've made all these discoveries and see the dangers of them. But like in the moment, whenever you're like discovery after discovery, like groundbreaking stuff, you're not going to be like, should we do this? Like you're just going to be like, oh my God, my name, I'm going to be the greatest scientist of all time, blah, blah, blah. Like, oh, it's such like just a double-edged sword. Like no matter like, it's just, I don't know. I love this conversation like that they had like at the dinner table and just, I mean, throughout the whole movie.
And the setting of it. What the fuck are we doing in an all-black room with projectors as walls?
Dude was all about the theatrics. He had a ride. He had his cards. He was playing with himself in the screen. He like for the like prick of blood or whatever. And he took him on a whole ride. And they're like, "Nah, we're getting off of this thing. We got to go see this is our people right here. This is what we want to see." They're like, "No more of this phony ride." But yeah, that theater dinner room was insane.
First of all, that food did not look interesting, but like, no. I was like, oh hell no, what is this? Now y'all eating the dinosaurs? But question, so is this the only time we will ever talk about Jurassic Park on a pod? I just want to know before I say what I'm about to say.
I mean, probably. Any thoughts you have on Jurassic Park should be aired out here.
Okay, so like
I wouldn't plan on like any sort of series where we cover the entirety of the franchise.
Okay, I just wanted to know. Don't they kind of retcon the whole like asexual breeding in the second one? Because there was a male T-Rex and a female one going for the baby in the second one. And
see, I am not the ripest source of knowledge for the Jurassic Park universe. I've watched the other movies one time when I was very young. This is the only one I've seen many times.
Then I'm just going to talk about just Jurassic Park because I know everything. I watched the Netflix TV show. I know everything about.
Yeah, you're like I got. Hey, and if you can shed some light on some shit that me and Joe simply cannot.
Yeah, I was gonna guess from the second one, I would like assume like the eggs that we saw hatched. Like those would be the I don't know, like a new. That's like the new, the first real born dinosaurs, and then from them stems every other.
It can't though, because that's Isla Sorna. This is no. Site B was Isla Sorna. This is Isla Nublar. So I'm like, these are two different islands.
You just spoke. Oh, those were island names. Okay, yeah. There, that clears it up. I was lost there for a second. I was like, whoa.
You guys seen that video of LeBron James talking to his teammate about some crazy basketball shit, and he's just like, I have no idea.
He said those are island names. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay.
My bad. Because I was just like super like confused on like that whole part that's being like, oh, they are like breeding because frogs and da 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 da. But like before they kind of released, it was like 2 months ago or something like that, it got millions of views where they actually released how the mosquito got into amber, like what happened, and it actually shows it showed like what happened, and it's going to be in the movie. And it was something like it was a Gigantosaurus fighting a T-Rex with feathers, because the dinosaurs actually had feathers back then. And the T-Rex died, and you see the mosquito just zip, go to a Brachiosaurus, zip, Stegosaurus, zip, and went on a tree. And it was like, shit, now I'm stuck.
Now I'm dead.
And that's what happened.
Damn.
I'm too knowledgeable on Jurassic Park.
No, I was going to bring that up, like, because we, like, just recently discovered that dinosaurs had feathers, like a couple years ago. And that, like, changes, like, all of these movies, But, like, we're not going to change the iconic, like, how can you do that?
Frankly, we don't even fucking know that that's what they looked like. It's just like we can gather.
Idea. Yeah, like we know what their bones look like.
Yeah,
like
all that comes around that. We're just making our best guess. Like
the whole are y'all familiar with the Spinosaurus?
Yes.
Okay, so like the one that has like the fin on the back. Okay. See, like Jurassic Park, like in any other like media that shows the Spinosaurus, like we don't know if that actually looks like what it looks like, because that's never been a complete skeleton of it. Like the whole Triceratops.
Right,
We don't even know if the Triceratops was even a dinosaur. Could he believe the Triceratops is like an underdeveloped, like it was like a baby version of another 3-horn. Like they say, oh, maybe Triceratops wasn't its own species. It was just a baby. It was just, yeah. That's what happened.
Which would be fucking insane if Triceratopses were babies. You fucking kidding me?
There's also a theory that
those mugs were fucking huge.
The reason they have little legs and like their 2 front legs is because the real big 2 legs they had up top were wings. Like, and they were massive. And the reason that they're just not found in like archaeological like digs is because like they just go away easier somehow. I don't know if maybe they weren't scared. Like, I don't know how that works, but that'd be dope if like T-Rexes were actually dragons. And then that's like why dragons are such a huge part of like Chinese and Japanese culture. And like, it doesn't make sense.
Mythologies
but then, like,
and stuff. Like,
you know,
I mean, there's always something, you know, and I think that like dinosaurs in specific and like there's just a lot we don't know, and we have a great fascination with stuff we don't know a lot about. Like the fact that we don't even know what the fuck going on in our ocean completely. How the fuck could we ever figure out everything about a species that died millions of years ago?
45 million years, dude.
65.
They were chilling, walking around on Earth.
Yep.
And now we're here.
The Mesozoic era was crazy. The Mesozoic era.
Bro, that Cretaceous period, that went brain.
The Cretaceous period.
Yo, that COVID period, though, we can forget about that one. Yeah, we can forget.
Like, I feel so bad. Like, the dinosaurs are just, you know, minding their business. It's like, yeah, I'm at to bite the shit out you. Oh, what's that bright thing? What's that? Oh, it's coming down.
It's getting warm,
It's
man.
getting kind of toasty. Like, it's getting, you know, it's kind of warm over here.
It's a UFO. Aliens, wipe them out. The aliens are humans. We're here to stay.
And
yeah. No,
it's so funny. Like, sorry, my bad.
Oh no, go ahead.
I would say it's so funny how dramatically, you know, for movies, of course, but how dramatically oversized the Velociraptor is. And I'm so happy they kind of nod to like the real size of it, because the kid called it a turkey. Cause it was like, it wasn't that big.
Still a mean fighting machine, though. Like, I still don't think humans stand much of a chance against that.
I still wouldn't fuck with a.
Yeah, like, I don't know. What do you do? Like, you're not going to outrun it. You're not going to outfight it. At that point, you just smart girl. You say smart girl. You know, you just know you're dead, and you have to make a joke. You know that those were little Timmy, poor little Timmy, man. These kids went through hell, man.
No, this is like, the most traumatic day of one's life.
I was like, oh my God. Like, I don't know. I didn't notice that before, but like it was just one thing after the other. And like, whenever Timmy like gets electrocuted, you know, and flies off the fence, and then he wakes up to complete the joke. He still says 3, bro. Dedication that little boy has, man. Dude came back to life to finish it.
I'm amazed that, like, in a movie that is so ripe with tension at so many fucking points, with monstrous dinosaurs about to bear down on human life, one of the most intense scenes of the movie is someone turning on electricity.
That's fair.
Because it's paralleled with Timmy on an electrical fence, and it's like, there's already so much happening here, and you're gonna go ahead and ramp the intensity up.
Of course, she doesn't know what she's doing, you know.
And that's what's funny. She celebrates after this kid could be potentially dying and stuff, and like she has no idea. It's just fucking little Timmy, man. Come on, just go ahead and jump for me, man.
Of course, it was the last one too. You know, like it had to be. It had to be the last button, and he had to be counting down at the exact same time.
1,
with 3 buttons left. Oh,
2.
like
I just love the iconic line that no one really talks about is when he's like, "So, we're back in the car again." He said, "At least you're out of the tree."
Exactly.
Like I would tell like my granddad is never babysitting me and my sister ever again. Like we got stomped on, shitted on, she got sneezed on. Like this is just fucked.
No, yeah. Grandpa needs to stay out of our lives.
His dementia big acting up. Like,
man, these
I didn't
kids
even
went
see
through
him
it,
the
man.
whole fucking time.
Man, and like, you have this beautiful moment. You have like the vegetarian and then the the herbivore dinosaur, and like, she's gonna touch him for the first time, and then just sneeze. Like, like what the heck, man? What was that for? Like, I don't know. Like, they just kept. Man, these kids, I don't know. I just felt bad for them. Like every moment, man.
I have like a really funny like thing about. Okay, so you remember in the movie when what's her name? Lex or Tess?
Lex. Yeah.
When she says, "Are those they not meat eating metasauruses?" I remember I showed my sister. I said, "What dinosaur is this?" It's a brachiosaurus, of course, but she doesn't say that. She said, "Those the long neckosauruses, right?" The long neckosauruses. What?
Yeah, we had the Vegisaurus and the Metasaurus.
Metasauruses.
No, yeah. Fantastic. I got there's a bunch of quotes in this movie too that are just absolutely fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
I want to go back to a couple Dr. Malcolm ones from that conversation at the dinner table because there's just a few great ones. I'll tell you the problem with the scientific power that you're using here. It didn't require any discipline to attain it. You read what others had done and you took the next step. You didn't earn the knowledge for yourselves, so you don't take any responsibility for it. You stood on the shoulders of geniuses to accomplish something as fast as you could, and before you even know it, you had it patented, packaged it, and slapped it on plastic lunchboxes, and now you're selling it. You're selling it. That whole thing is fucking fantastic.
Humbled him real quick. Like, put Hammond on blast right there. Like, dude was like, his whole dream is out in front of him, and he's finally showing it to these people, and they're just coming in, like, and he's like, oh yeah, these people will sign off on my dream for sure. And then they just... boom! I'm gonna shit all over you. Like,
they're like, dude, yeah, because we know so much, we know what the dangers are here. And I love that he's like, well, how about if I were to revive an island of condors? Nobody would play. And he's like, oh, hold on, this isn't some species that was obliterated by deforestation or building of a dam. They had their shot. Nature selected them for extinction. Like, these experience, like, and then the Discovery. What's so great about Discovery? It's violent, penetrative act that scars what it explores. What you call Discovery, I call the rape of the natural world. Like, that's just such a strong sentiment, but it's one that makes you really appreciate Malcolm's character, just like as a whole, like him being like, no, I just absolutely cannot stand for what you're doing here, because the natural world is beautiful and this isn't natural.
I like how Lego Jurassic Park made fun of Lex in the video game because she screams so much in the movie that her power in the Lego games is to scream loud enough to break glass. Literally.
That's awesome.
So funny.
That's awesome.
So funny. No, yeah, it's funny because there are scenes where like the dinosaurs are screeching and the kids are screaming, but I don't know which is which. I couldn't tell you who's screeching.
Did y'all
and
notice
who's
that like the Velociraptor kind of mocked her when she screamed at it after she went from the bone? She said like she was like ah, and it said ah, like it was the same exact shit. It is like they're
smart creatures. Like every time they're on screen, it's just like, damn, those things are smart. Like they just learn quick.
Obviously, they wasn't smart enough to not see that big ass T-Rexes come through that hole.
Yeah, or how'd they not hear that coming? They're very, very loud, stompy creature.
There's several occasions of like, oh, you didn't see that? For example, when they're in the helicopter flying towards the island, Hammond, like, with surprise goes, there it is. And it's a fucking giant island they've been flying towards for miles, but they're right in front of it.
I just saw the only thing we could see for miles. I just saw it.
In the car when they're riding along, and then they stop in the middle of an open field, and all of a sudden there's a bunch of dinosaurs they hadn't seen before. There are several instances where it's like, oh, okay, sure. You didn't see that. But regardless, it lends to a more enjoyable experience, and I think you can write those off to like, they weren't looking for it, because why would it be there? And I don't know, but
just imagine if on the engine helicopter, instead of Dr. Grant, there was a Karen, because he couldn't buckle up his seatbelt. Like she would have made a fit like that. Like,
I was wondering why they it was such a weird thing to include, they really focused on it, for some, and then he just had to, you know what, I'm defeated, but I don't want to look defeated, so I'll do the smart thing and tie it, and I would look like a mega genius, but
I think it's sort of it's kind of indicating to us early on the sort of maybe tension building that they're going to try to do throughout the film, and it's also kind of indicating Grant's while he's not the sharpest tool in the box, he's resourceful and he'll manage.
Oh, that's fair. Okay.
He'll manage, and I think it's like he'll get by. Sort of the sentiment. It's not like he won't fly. He won't get by with flying colors or anything, but he'll
can we just
he'll do
talk
all right.
about how satisfying every fucking object in the movie looked? I wanted to hold the goggles. I wanted to hold the flashlight, the walkie-talkie, the buildings, the way the Jeep looked.
I want to ride in those cars.
It was for the kids, man.
So
they knew, and what was that? Something happened, and then immediately they followed it up with all the merchandise, like the lunch boxes, the stuffed animals, the plates, the everything. I forgot what happened right before it, but it was just direct,
it was when
or whatever. Whatever
the T-Rex ate the gallimimuses, right? And then it cut to the T-Rex stuffed animal.
I think, yeah. It was just brutal violence, and then for the kids, this is what it's for. It's for the
It's all about this.
No, it's for the kids. Yeah,
and that whole scene where they drop the cattle into the Velociraptor pit.
Yeah,
and they're was the rope around the neck necessary? They were lifting it up. It couldn't move. They still had a rope tied around its neck, and the dude was I don't know. It was really weird. That's all I was thinking during. I don't know. That's all I could think about during this whole thing.
No, that shit sucks. And it's but you gotta feed your dinosaurs, and how are you gonna do that?
Do you kind of think, because John Hammond was an asshole in the books? Do you think this? Because he was evil as fuck in the books, and I kind of feel they played that with how he kind of interacted with his kids. Because he was like, Grandpa, kids, just children, yay! It just, why would you just say kids? It just.
I don't know. That's interesting.
Well, it was they were saying or he was talking about what the whole point of it was. They're nah, you're missing the point. What the park really is for, and then
our target audience. You'll get to spend some time with them.
Kids, the target audience.
Okay, it just comes off weird.
No, and he comes off weird the whole fucking movie.
Yeah.
I think the problem is that it's interesting when you make a movie at a certain point in time and it becomes a classic. So we know John Hammond isn't an absolutely evil bastard, but when the movie came out, they were probably going for an ambiguous, maybe this is his fault thing. And now we know for sure it's not, because we've seen this movie so many times, but because it's so ambiguous there for a little bit, it feels weird. But there are moments where you're is this dude a piece of shit? And he, ultimately, if you're a Dr. Malcolm, yes, he is a piece of shit. If you're more reasonable and less more extreme in your values and beliefs, you might go, he meant well. You know what I'm saying? But,
okay, so yes, in the movies he has to be a piece of shit, and it's only because with my knowledge, I'm going to say this. So in Lost World, in the beginning, he purposely took Ian Malcolm's girlfriend to go to Site B, knowing Ian Malcolm was going to follow her there because he kept trying to get him there. And right when Ian Malcolm left out and the music started playing, he was kind of he knew what he was doing the whole time. He was manipulating him. And it was so evil. It was so evil.
And I could absolutely. I mean, he's a rich white man. This man is. He's not the nicest. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't say that by any means. And I a greater knowledge of the movies probably does help you narrow in more on this character in specific. But I could definitely the manipulativeness kind of bleeds through, you know, even in his abuse of the system, like what he thought he was going to get away with. You know, like he stood on the shoulders of geniuses, took what other people did and built on it and was like, let's just go ahead and do it. The way that he got a couple scientists who he knew were very passionate about dinosaurs. He was like, this will for sure get my shit done. Like, he just wanted it quick. At the beginning, the guy's like, we need to do inspections. And the guy goes, Hammond hates inspections. They just make things go slower. And it's like, he is a piece of shit in the general way he conducts business. But that's kind of par for the course in terms of the sort of man he's being portrayed as.
I just noticed something. Did you get a new microphone?
No, I added a few attachments.
Oh, okay, because you're not like this. Because I was wondering, something looks weird about this pod. Okay.
Yeah, no. Okay. I got a new mic. I got a little mic stand and yeah.
Okay, I got to get up with y'all Tony Stark technology because mine's just over here on the side.
Hey, you could go with that Jurassic Park technology, get an interactive CD-ROM.
Yeah,
this whole thing. I got mine for like $19.99 on Amazon. Like my whole thing. Yeah. So no, it's but yeah, I don't know. I love how the movie stands up so perfectly well, like visually and everything, but then it just falls behind on like every technological thing like that they're wow at the time, like, and whenever Lex is hacking, you know, to get the locks back on,
and it's like an actual map.
Like, yeah, this is how computers work. You fly through a 3-dimensional view of the computer, and you select you just click on the file. That's it. You know, that's how computers work. But like, I don't know. At the time, that was probably like, damn, I've never seen a computer do that before. So that has to be how they work. You know, like. Legitimately,
that has to be an incredibly advanced computer that's just filing shit like that.
But man, it doesn't take you out though. You know, it's like I don't care that they're saying all these CD-ROM, a touch screen. You know, like they're you know, it's like hilarious. Who cares? You know, this is just like such it's such a fun movie, but like serious at the same time, and like that's like a Spielberg. That's like what I think. Like
that's the mark of the Spielberg is just like. Ultimately, it's going to be fun as fuck. It's going to be intense, and it's going to ramp up the tension at very, very many points. And you know, we get that in all of his work, I think. But there's always a heartfelt, heartwarming sort of sentiment that comes with it, I think, and I think it bleeds through in all his work.
And okay. I am sorry if I'm all over the place with my Jurassic Park knowledge, because I have like so much. Okay. I'm about to mind fuck you guys. So, have any of you saw Fallen Kingdom?
Yes, I saw that at a drive-in movie theater.
Okay. That's beautiful.
And it's not the optimal experience for a first viewing.
Well, you're not supposed to be looking at it. You're supposed to be doing other shit. But...
and thus.
Isn't it kind of crazy? Isn't it kind of crazy how evolved Jurassic Park is getting to now, like cloning humans now? Because the little girl is a clone of the dead guy's daughter. And it's like, so are we evolving from dinosaurs? Like, Ian Malcolm is just like, oh, come on. Just like, it's just crazy.
I 100% just given the way franchising works right now and universe building works right now, I'm going to be fucking shocked if in the next 20 years we don't have a Crichton-verse where we have Westworld and Jurassic Park in the same universe.
I could see it. I could legit, but this is like the only thing that holds it up is like this is like the obvious like progression that like would happen before a Westworld, you know, like
exactly.
The parks where it would just be animals first, you know, you would let people hunt them if they would want to, like you could just make tigers, whatever, like after, but like I would see like dinosaurs would be like the first thing to show like what the technology could do, like that would make sense. But then like all these movies happened and it showed the world how like shitty these things are, but then like, and then they're just so like, yeah, Westworld, cool, but we've never seen like the the like outside perspective of like Westworld. We've only seen the people who are like in it and what they view it as, but like just a normal person, like I guess I don't know, but it would be super cool if dinosaurs were the first, like it just like it's all poetic, it starts with the dinosaurs and then works its way up to humans eventually, and like
past that robots,
like.
But no, yeah, I think now Michael Crichton's mind is definitely one for the whole theme park thing that he had going on is hilarious to me. The fact that he was like, we'll do a robot theme park and it'll be Western themed. It'll be awesome. But also, I got a dinosaur park. I got that in my mind. I'm gonna go ahead and put it to the page. That's just.
Yeah, maybe he's just a kid and he like just wants these things so bad. And he's like, maybe if I make them good enough movies and stuff, one rich motherfucker will just do it and then we'll get it.
And that's what's crazy is that like we've talked about this with like Terminator and all these other movies where it's like there are actually people now who have the means to make things like this happen. And it's a damn shame that these movies exist because they will go ahead and make it happen and completely miss the point, which is hilarious.
Like, we'll do it right this time. We know all the mistakes that could happen from this movie and book. We got it. Yeah, we'll just like.
Well, that's what's funny is like that's what's even funnier is that this movie is someone with that perspective. Hammond has that perspective. Like it's like. Hey, I've seen all the research. We can make this happen. And then we just do it. You don't think about whether or not you should. You just think of if you could.
I could make a successful Jurassic Park, but that's just me. That's just me. But another thing I wish they included from the books to the first movie, Jurassic Park, is the island of the island of the 5 deaths. No, the islands of the 5 deaths. It's something like that. Because that's actually 5 islands with prehistoric animals on them. And it's canon with the TV show. Like, they say it's canon with Michael Crichton. Because that's one when it's like Spinosaurus on one side, saber-toothed tiger. Like, they have so many. And it's like insane.
Interesting.
Oh. Yeah. Duh. Like, it's just that, like, the Jurassic world is just the Jurassic period, like
kinda. Cause he got.
But then you focus,
cause he got.
Okay, I guess it's like all dinosaurs.
Yeah, it's just really the Mesozoic.
Okay, I guess I didn't even think like, this is just like one park, like like this is just
like
one of them.
In Westworld. It's not just Westworld. There's Shogun World, and there's all this other stuff.
You got Glacier Park.
You got too many multiverses going
Glacier
on.
Park is like the ice ones, and you have the water world, which is like all the plesiosaurs and mosasaurs. It's a thing in the books. Like it's so many different things.
Just a thought. We have this multiverse kind of coming to fruition. We have Marvel's coming. What if like the real multiverse is coming into fruition? And it just so happens that like whenever it comes out in Hollywood, it lines up with the real multiverse opening up.
So like Transformers riding the air. Like Brachiosaurus.
So the world's about to go crazy. We're about to have everything ever in this universe. Like the real multiverse is going to open up. Yes.
Okay.
Well,
Joseph, I'm going to write that down in the Omnipotent Saga and make that a thing.
It's gotta happen. It's gotta happen. But guys, I don't think I have a ton else to say on this movie in particular. I think we might be able to take this to the rating and review section of the pod. Now, Aurora, you haven't been a part of this exact process yet, but we got 3 ratings. On a scale of 5 stars. We got how much you enjoyed it, how much it just connected with you. It's kind of evolved after we watched Dead Poets Society. It wasn't purely how much fun did we have watching the movie. It became just how emotionally connected to this movie are you, enjoyment, just overall there. And then we also got like critically as a film out of 5 stars. Where are you sitting? And then we've got out of 5 stars, how well did it fit its genre? And we take the mean of those 3 numbers, and it becomes the rating out of 5 stars for this film. It'll be interesting because we'll all have to come to the agreement here. So we'll start with enjoyment for Jurassic Park as we usually do.
I think it's this one's pretty easy here.
Yeah,
I think this is a 5 out of 5.
That's a 5-star film.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, it pulls the heartstrings, it pulls the action strings, it pulls every string that you want, in a movie.
It scratches the itches.
Mm-hmm. And a great story, and just we see dinosaurs too. Like, come on, what more could you ask for?
Not much.
Yeah, this was just like, I knew, like watching this, like 20 minutes in, I'm like, all right, this is just, it's one of those movies, it's just one of those. But
it certainly is. I'm definitely with you. I don't think there's only a few movies that it's like, oh, undoubtedly, like this is on that level in terms of just how overall enjoyable the movie is. And these movies that are catered to this audience, where it's enjoyable for grown-ups, but the target audience is kids. It's always making for a fun watch, as we've seen. I think our other 5 out of 5 enjoyments are like Star Wars and Raiders of the Lost Ark and stuff.
Yep, this is our 6th 5 out of 5 enjoyment movie. This makes number 6. But yeah, it was Godfather, Jaws, Star Wars, Raiders, Dead Poet Society, and now Jurassic Park.
So Spielberg's 3 for 3 with the 5 out of 5.
Yes,
enjoyment.
He is. That's crazy. He is half of our enjoyment. 5 out of 5s.
No, that's certainly a testament to Spielberg's directorial style. But on to the next genre, and as far as a action adventure,
it says action adventure sci-fi on IMDb.
I mean, in terms of action and adventure, this is pretty, like we've argued that 5 out of 5s in this specific category are genre defining. Would you say this movie is a staple? Like, if you were watching action and adventure movies, you have to watch Jurassic Park.
I'd say this is the only rating where it falls a little bit. Like, because, like, critically, film, like, I know that one's going to be pretty high, like, for me at least. I think this is the only one where it falls, but, like, it is still, like, the thing is that it is an iconic film, though. And, like, what it did for the industry and, like, what it did for all that stuff, like, is that genre defining, like, that's
more filmmaking.
Yeah, so that's not really genre. Part of that, and that's why I was like, oh, maybe it does fall a little bit here, because it really is.
I think to, like, if we're looking at the action adventure genre in specific, those elements of the film, I think it's on par with like with his other movies, with Raiders and Jaws. It's like it's right about there anyway. I think the story here ultimately becomes more fulfilling, while the action in the other movies more does it for me.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. Yeah. Aurora, where are you at in terms of where you think this is in terms of an action adventure film?
Okay, question. Is this like a 1 to 5 thing too? Or is it?
Yes. You can go like 5, you're like 4.5, 4.2.
I would give it...
You can break it down.
I would give it a 4. Because it does have action adventure, but I feel like the adventure part is kind of it was like really closed in, like it was watched. I don't know how to say it. It just felt like you didn't really get a lot of adventure. Everything was placed for like a reason, which most movies are, but it doesn't feel like they was really going out. Everything felt controlled.
Right. Like when I think of Jaws and Indiana Jones, Raiders of the Lost Ark, those are adventure movies. This is the action part of that. And so it is interesting. And I think 4 might be a little low. I think I might give it a little.
I was thinking like 4 would be the absolute lowest that I would go.
Wait, isn't
like
it
I'm
1 is
comfortable
the
like
best
with
or 5 is the best?
5 is the
5's
best.
the best.
Yeah, 5.
But
is the best.
we break it down to like we've
like-
done so many movies now that we kind of have a general feel for where a 4.25 is in comparison to other movies. So like me and Joe kind of like, and 4.25 is about where I was thinking.
Yeah,
4.25.
Yeah,
and like the thing is like this movie, it doesn't really like focus on the action and it's not like the point of the movie is the story and like the character development. Like that's like the real focal point of the movie. Like it's just the action and the adventure is kind of just like a byproduct that just so happens that comes with this great story, you know? So like, it's not, I don't know. It's not like the focus of the movie. So like we're dinging it a little bit, but like they weren't going for this, you know, like, so it's like a little low rating, but like still, I would say
low.
it's the closest to genre defining that you can get without getting there, I would say.
Yeah. I'm with you 100%. Cause like I'd say that was like the problem for me is I was like, I don't think this is a genre defining film. And that ultimately, you know, it can't be a 5 if that's the case. But yeah, so
that's fair.
The 4 to 4.25 range.
Mm-hmm. Now as a film, wow.
Now let's go through some that you estimate will be in the range for Aurora here, just to give her a little bit of a reference for what we usually view films as.
Last month was a very, very highly, like critically great month. We had My Neighbor Totoro 4.9, Dead Poet Society 4.9, Goodfellas 4.85, Boys in the Hood 4.75. Pretty well made, impactful movies get like those sort of scores. For example, Spaceballs was given a 1 as a film. Scarface a 3.5, but more in this range.
Probably more in the range that we've stated
like
of last month.
Jaws was a 4.8. Godfather another 4.8. Godfather Part 2 a 4.75. So that's where we are, kind of up in this caliber, I would say. Was last month and those movies.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you there. I think this is where those filmmaking defining attributes really come into play for me. Like this changed the way movies were made, and it is an incredible story. And in a movie where it has so much action and adventure and stuff, like you said, it can feel like it's not the point of it. You know, it's just a byproduct of it, which is another plus sign for me. So I'm pretty high on this movie.
That's
like,
a good way of thinking about it. If we have genre defining as 5, if this is a film that defined the industry, you know, like that is what makes it a 5. Like if this movie defined the industry, like that's why Star Wars 5 out of 5 film. That makes sense. It defined the industry. But like a My Neighbor Totoro, Dead Poet Society, that didn't really define the industry, but a 4.9, still a fantastic like film. And I don't know, maybe that's, I guess that kind of makes sense. Like a film that defined film in general, you know, like from this point on, movies were made differently. Like that.
And I think it should certainly be considered, but I don't think it's as hardcore a 5 out of 5 guarantee.
Fair. That's true.
See, I'm like, I wish it was like a 5.95, because it's like, yes, you had like Star Wars and stuff that was done, you know, amazingly CGI. Like it was done for its time. But Jurassic Park still has like an essence of feeling more real than any other CGI movie before. Like it has an essence or like a flavor to it. It feels more real. It just feels like that. And like when you watch like Jurassic Park, well, for me, it's like I get like a feeling. It's like, wow, this movie, I just haven't seen a film that you can really compare it to on its own. Like it could stand just by itself. And yeah,
I like that view. And for the to be clear, when I say I don't know if it's a 5, I'm fairly certain it's a 4.9. It's I just because and we've talked about how Star Wars we evaluated a little unfairly. To be certain, that is undoubtable the most biased rating we've ever given a movie.
5s across the board, baby.
I wish
it's the only way we were gonna rank that movie.
I wish I was there. I would be like, hold on, y'all not better do this.
Okay. A 5 film, it is Star Wars, as a film, if we're technique wise, that is a 5. But the conversation that I think is more important is the film, not the filming techniques and everything. It's the story, how good the story was, the actors, the performances. That's what this rating is more for.
Yeah, more about. And if we're looking at that across the board, the performance is fantastic. Like we've said, Sam Neill, Laura Dern, Jeff Goldblum, Richard Attenborough, fantastic across the board. The children's performances, hard to get some great child actors, and they did a pretty good job here. I mean, they played some pretty corny kids at points, but that was kind of the point. John Williams' score, fantastic, amazingly directed by Steven Spielberg. The writing is solid. I wouldn't say it's jaw dropping or anything, but it's solid. Mm-hmm. So it's really high in all those categories. So I'm comfortable going in that 4.9.
You think it ties A Dead Poet Society and My Neighbor Totoro, or do you give it the edge?
In terms of critically as a film.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because I was if we're gonna say it's any higher, it has to be a 4.95. If it's anything, So I think a 4.9 is fair though. I think I'm kind of sitting around there too.
Yeah, I think I'm comfortable with that. And
let's see what that averages it out to, which is a 4.72. So that is Boys in the Hood is a 4.75. Every other movie in the month of May was a 4.92. Goodfellas, Dead Poets, My Neighbor Totoro. Let's see, it is above the Terminator. Terminator is a 4.6. It is a little bit above Aliens. Aliens is a 4.7. Okay. So that makes sense. I'd say
that feels right.
Of the Spielberg movies that we've watched so far, I would say this one's my favorite out of the Spielbergs. Right. Am I confusing again or no? No, Jaws.
Yep,
I am. Yes, I am confusing him again. Sorry. But no, they are better than the Cameron movies. So yeah,
they're certainly better than Terminator and Aliens.
Yeah, so
absolutely.
So yeah, I think that's.
And I would also I would personally, I don't quite enjoy it as much as I did Jaws or Raiders, but nevertheless, I still fucking loved it. It's an amazing movie, and I've just got a deeper nostalgia for those movies. You know what I'm saying?
I do take that, but I would say Raiders is probably my favorite Spielberg movie that we watched so far. Now that I have the correct person in mind and movies in mind, but of the Spielberg, now that I can say those ratings, and I have,
I can undoubtedly say Raiders, like Jaws, Raiders, and Jurassic Park, is the best big three any director could throw at me. I couldn't possibly pick a better.
It's so fitting. It just goes, it's 4.93, 4.83, 4.72. Almost, if it was 4.73, that would just be boom. Because it's just
let's edit the numbers to make that happen.
It has to happen.
Let's rig the books.
Let's see what I can do to make that happen.
Won't need much. Won't need much in the right place.
If we give it a 4.93 as a film, it becomes a 4.73. Do we want to alter that number, or do we want to alter the genre number? What number are we comfortable altering here? The 4.9?
I could give the Jurassic. I could give the critically as a film a little bit of a bump.
Okay,
I could see that going up.
Okay, I'm comfortable with that because now that puts it above like, I guess it's above Dead Poets and above My Neighbor Totoro now as a film critically.
And I think there's something to be said for that. I think the reason Dead Poets and like Dead Poets in particular was more just about how amazingly written it was. I don't think the writing of Jurassic World or Jurassic Park touches the writing in Dead Poets Society. Obviously, the filmmaking and the visual effects is a whole other fucking game because it's a whole other type of movie. And then My Neighbor Totoro, talking about animated movies is really, really interesting in comparison to all the live action movies we've had. And I think it was the fact that it was an animated movie from the late 80s and also like a straight up children's movie. Like the fact that it had me and kept me the entire time and I like really, really cared about the characters. That's another thing here that is really important to me in terms of how I view a film, just how much I care about the characters. And I really like these characters to be sure, but I think the only one I'm really caring about is Laura Dern. Like I don't think this movie does like the most terrific job at getting you to it's hard.
You know, that's fair. You know, it's not like the aliens mother-daughter duo that you have there that you like deeply care for, and you're like, oh my god, I don't want them. You know, like
that's what's interesting. That's a perfect example because I really, really loved that duo. But Sam Neill Grant with these kids, like I love that, but not to the degree that I loved Ellen Ripley protecting that. What was her name? Oh, it was something just absolutely outlandish. Newt.
Thank you. Oh my god, that was gonna bug the crap out of me too. Thank you.
Nah, but yeah, I was trying to figure out what it was about this movie that's like it's just not quite to those, because you said that, and it made me go, because like you laid out the critical ratings we gave for Godfather and the critical ratings we gave for other movies, and like they weren't as high as Dead Poets Society and My Neighbor Totoro, and I was like, when you said those, I went in my head, what on earth made me go My Neighbor Totoro and Dead Poets Society were that fucking good, and that's what it was just how much it made me care.
I really felt like this movie could have been bumped up on like the critical rating if it would have went with the ending that the book had, with like the government killing all of the dinosaurs on the island. Like you just know, like they drop that enzyme that just kills the shit out of all of them.
Damn.
Yeah, and see, like
that would have been like, oh.
There's like a hearty, devastating.
Because then that helicopter ride would have been devastating. Because they probably would have been crying.
Just imagine
like,
if Dr. Grant is looking at the bird and the bird just goes. Like I would have been like, this ending is so fucked up.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
No, yeah, and you know, maybe there is something to be said there, you know, because like there's just something that doesn't take it to the next step in my like, you better not touch this motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? Like, and there's something to be said for the fact that maybe like I've just seen this movie, you know, so like I know they're okay, and therefore I don't have to worry. Meanwhile, it was like my first time watching Aliens, so Ellen Ripley and Newt were a newer tandem to me. It's like, it's just interesting. All of these things must be considered, and that's why, you know, the rating system won't be seamless, but it'll get the job done pretty much every time.
What year is this? 1993?
1993.
I guess it makes sense because like with Eleanor Ripley, like she needed a daughter and then Newt needed a mother, so it was like just perfect, like already, and then like they were just so good together.
It's just like Laura Dern's trying to get Grant to warm up to the idea of kids, and he's
exactly
just
he starts hating kids, so it's not like the heartwarming immediately that you get for the whole movie. It's like an eventual heartwarming, but then like it's the satisfaction, you know, it's a different satisfaction. Instead of it being the whole time, it's this build up. Yeah.
You know what would have like did it for me? And this is so fucked up. But if like Dr. Grant and Lex was just having a conversation while Timmy is just on his own and a velociraptor just kills the shit out of him. Like I would have been like, Like,
Wait, killed Timmy or Hammond?
Like, he's just so fascinated. He's like, Dr. Grant, I see a...
I thought you meant the doctor was going to die, but it's even more funny that you killed the kid.
No, I think, here's my thing. If there's anyone in this movie who I'm like, all right, go ahead. I mean, besides like the obvious ones, the ones that did get 8, like if one had to go, I'm throwing Timmy out.
I mean, that dude cheated death like 8 times.
Throw Timmy out. Or like if they would have killed his sister, then you would have seen him just lose all of his love for dinosaurs. Like that would have.
See, that would have been too much.
It's like,
you know,
Timmy. It's Timmy.
There's a balance there, and I think Timmy was the one. If anybody had to die, it should have been
anyone
Timmy.
else? Is anyone?
What a take!
Is anyone else thinking about South Park as we keep saying Timmy?
Yeah, a little bit.
But yeah, that's
what a take. I did not think that's how we'd end the Jurassic World or Jurassic Park conversation. If one had to go, it'd probably be Timmy.
Probably be the smallest child in the movie. No, this is ultimately, I absolutely love this movie. I'm really glad we've covered it now, especially so close to like the anniversary of its release, a day away tomorrow for the 29th anniversary of the release of Jurassic Park. That's just perfect. Couldn't think of a sandwiched here by in 1993 by Malcolm X and a slew of movies in 1994. We're might have quite the eventful week next week. 1994 was a busy one for movies.
The Lion King.
If I remember correctly, we had The Lion King's in there, Pulp Fiction, Shawshank Redemption,
Forrest Gump.
Gump,
and then Jim Carrey.
And then Jim Carrey went on a fucking run where he had The Mask and Dumb and Dumber and
Ace Ventura.
So like,
damn,
like 1994 went crazy. So we might just have to have like a 7 days, the entire week, 7 movies.
Can I put in a request for a movie for 2005?
Ooh,
it's a comedy movie. And I don't like comedies, but this is the best one ever. I don't care what nobody say. It has to be the movie Taxi. With Queen Latifah and Jimmy Fallon. That movie, I'm telling you, you will love it. I'm telling you.
This says it came out in 2004.
2004 then. Yeah.
And that we The Notebook right now.
Okay, so it's subject to change. That's certainly one that can be subject to change.
Either if it's 2004 or 2005. 2005 is also V for Vendetta, which is also kind of one that was kind of just thrown in there.
Okay, good. So I guess we're not doing the Fantastic Four in 2005 then.
No. We've excluded the Marvel and Star Wars movies except for the first.
Okay, then I can get behind that. And we're still on the pod. I'm thinking we.
we're still doing Jurassic Park here. I'm okay with like a little bit of on-air planning. You know, I think people can appreciate that from us.
I'm thinking we already said that whole ending.
No, yeah. Here, I'll go ahead and sign off, and we can continue to discuss here. But yeah, this was the Penny Bloom podcast. It was we continued our 52-year journey through film. I was Colton Robertson, joined by Joseph George. Thank you very much, homie.
Thank you for having me. Always a pleasure to be here.
Oh, and it is always a pleasure to have you. And Aurora Carter, thank you so much for joining us for the first time, and hopefully not the last time on our 52-year journey.
Definitely not the last time. I mean, y'all need a little feminine input, even though it's still a sausage party, but still.
Of course we do. But, nevertheless, if you were fucking with this, go check out all of our other shit. We've covered a whole bunch of stuff over the course of what is probably now over 200 episodes. If you would, head to patreon.com/CoroBloom, where you'll find well over 22 hours of exclusive content, updating that multiple times a week, some artwork over there, exclusive discussions amongst us and many other of the co-hosts. A lot of fun over there. Follow on Twitter at PennyBloomPod, where you'll get the updates for what movie is coming next as far as this 52-year journey is concerned. And this next week will be an important one because we've got several options, and we're not entirely sure which ones specifically we'll cover. We're going to try and get them all in, but if we can't, we can't. So you'll find out there on Twitter at PennyBloomPod. Follow on Instagram at PennyBloomPodcast. Shit, guys. Peace, love, and bloom. And bingo, Dino DNA.